When we accidentally forget it at home, then we feel uneasy and empty. And you can't tell me otherwise. It's not one of the top 10 worst feelings in the world when you're doing something really important and you need your phone and then it's about to die on you or it even dies on you. I hate when that happens. You hate when that happens. Everybody hates when that happens. Our phones are who we turn to make us laugh. And it's the first thing we turn to when we receive good or bad news, or want to know news in general. Our phones even somehow find their way with us on the toilet. I don't think your significant other sits there for 5 minutes or however long it takes for you to go to the bathroom, every bathroom trip, just sitting there to keep you company. Yeah, I didn't think so either. And let me pose this question. When was the last time that you went to the toilet without your phone? Something to think about. We depend on our screens for our happiness, and we use it to hide from our responsibilities for a while. We're on it the second before we go to bed, and then we put it away and we charge it, and then it spends the entire night right next to us while we're sleeping. Talk about attachment issues. But hey, I'm not here to judge. Actually, again, I am very much a victim of this. And I'm sure a lot of us right here, right now, are too. We're all guilty of saying we're only going to be on our phone for 5 minutes, but those 5 minutes turn into half an hour, and that half an hour turns into an hour, and that just results into a skyrocketing high screen time. Speaking of screen time, if you're daring enough, do me a favor and take out your phone. Take it out. I know, everyone's dreading it. Little trigger warning side note. Sometimes whenever we see the number under screen time, it can be a little bit astonishing to say the least. But maybe this fact will make you feel a little bit better. According to a study conducted in 2019, the average American uses their cell phone for about 3 hours and 34 minutes a day. Maybe your number's below that. If it is, good for you, congratulations. Maybe your number's above. I happen to fall into that category. I'll go ahead and expose myself, and I'll admit, sometimes it's like between 4 and 10 hours. 4 hours is like when I'm having a really busy day, and 10 hours, you can guess, I have a lot of free time on my hands. My initial reaction, every time I look at my screen time, is always, wow. Imagine all the things I could have been doing instead. We love to claim we never have time to do the things we love or want to get done. But this, our phone, is evidence that we do. That is what makes this relationship with our screens so toxic. Why can't we make time for ourselves, but we can make time for these little computer things that we put in the back of our pockets? Your phone definitely wears the pants in this relationship because it's manipulating you and taking up all your time and keeping you from being productive. My senior year of high school, actually in this high school here, I took a class about mindfulness. Mindfulness is the moment-by-moment awareness of one's thoughts, feelings, and surrounding environment through a gentle, nurturing lens. In one activity, my teacher, Mrs. Cavolt, had us think about the things that we do in our day-to-day lives and create 2 lists and put them side by side. The first list was called Things That Fill Your Bucket. Day-to-day activities that bring us prolonged feelings of joy and contentment. But keep in mind, they aren't necessarily quick fixes, meaning they may not be very easy for us to do. They may take hard work, discipline, motivation to complete, but in the end, we feel whole, nourished, and valued. For example, something that fills up my bucket is going to the gym and working out. I'll admit, it's not my favorite thing to do in the world, and you might have to drag me to do it, but the feeling of self-pride that I have for myself after completing a workout never has me regretting doing it in the first place. Some things that my classmates from Mindfulness shared out that fill up their buckets that you might relate to are doing chores. It's a no-brainer. After we get a chore done, we're like, yes. Hanging around loved ones, submerging themselves in nature, listening to music or getting into a good book, or maybe doing a favorite hobby, usually one that has something to do with creating art or playing a favorite sport. You get the gist of it. On the other hand, the second list was called things that drain our bucket. A complete 360 of things that fill our bucket. Again, keep in mind, the things that drain our bucket aren't ones that we necessarily hate doing, but instead, they're ones that are initially enjoyable. We may like doing them, but they end up making us feel drained, distracted, and even tired. When it came time to share out the things that drained our bucket among my mindfulness class, some things I observed that my classmates said were being around negative people, eating unhealthy foods, sleeping in late during the day because they slept late during the night, being in bed the entire day or being on the couch. And surprise, surprise, one that we all had on our lists was mindlessly scrolling on our phones for hours on end. What a shocker. We love to make excuses for why we never have time to do things that fill our bucket. That's because we're too busy choosing to do the easier thing. The easier thing being usually an activity that stems from the list of things that drain our bucket, like being on our phones. But I don't blame you. I mean, who doesn't love coming back home from a long day of hard work, plopping yourself on the couch, pulling out your phone and opening up Instagram to see what cool new vacation Ashley's on and tending to our text messages than it is to do something more better and active for our well-being? How do we fix this toxic relationship? The most effective strategy is adopting a new mindful outtake on our screen usage. I'm not saying that you should cut your phone off completely and deprive yourself from it. That's not possible, especially in this technology-based society we live in today. I can't do that. You can't do that. No one can do that. But I believe that you can shave off at least an hour or so from your screen time to devote yourself to do something that fills your bucket. We're architects in our own lives. We can design when we do or don't use our phones. Set some technology goals. Start off small. Maybe instead of reaching for your phone right when you wake up, you'll replace that time and set some intentions for the day and imagine what your day is going to look like and some of the things you want to get done. Start your morning off on a positive note. Or maybe, instead of choosing to watch a video on your phone while you're eating a meal, you'll put that phone away and use that time to savor your food and check in with yourself. Because sometimes in our ever so busy lives, we forget to do that. And I know we've all been there. Whenever we're eating with other people, we'll all be on our phones doing our own thing. Put the phone away and focus on creating some meaningful conversations with those around you. Or maybe, instead of choosing to scroll on your phone before bed, get into a good book. It's these little things. Taking little steps into breaking the addiction we have with our screens is already one huge step into a more mindful life, where we're able to be happier and fill up our buckets and enjoy the little things. Remember, your intention is to make yourself happier, not to punish yourself. So when you're transitioning into this new mindful outtake about our phone and screen time, don't expect your phone time to be at 0. Just be more mindful about your unhealthy habits and whenever you pick up your phone. I suggest that you should create a list of things that fill your bucket so you can turn to those whenever you decide that you're bored or want to kill time instead of just being on your phone the entire day. If we want to actually enjoy life, then we need to save it for the things that actually matter and that are sustainable to us. Notice your actions and your feelings when you're not on your phone and you're using that time to do something that fills your bucket. Personally, I feel so much more sustained and energized and more proud of myself that I didn't choose to do the easier thing. The easier thing being just mindlessly scrolling on my phone for hours on end. Dr. Laurie Santos, a Yale psychology professor, conducted a study and concluded that people with significantly less screen times were happier and can live a better quality life. Sometimes that time needs to be without our screen time, without our phones. I'm not saying that you should break up with your phone, but maybe find some alternatives than just being on it so you can realize that the world is richer when you're not with it 24/7. Thank you.